and go.
Hi, my name is Shandelin Anderson, and I'm so glad that you could join us tonight. I'm going to go over just a brief overview of the Tower Garden. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer questions at the end, and we'll just kind of go from there. But I have a little presentation that I'm going to share, and let me just pull it up here. And this part always makes me crazy because it doesn't share what I want it to share. Okay. Can you all see my PowerPoint?
Yep.
Yes? Okay, awesome. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about my story about the Tower Garden and how it works, what and where you can grow your Tower Garden, the different uses for the Tower Garden, and the benefits that you get as a result of growing with the Tower Garden, and the cost. So my story, it's funny. I had a friend who kept sending me these Tower Garden videos of her kids putting this Tower Garden together, and I had no idea what I was looking at. And I just thought, oh, that's cute. And I just kind of let it go, but she kept poking me. And then finally she called and she says, Shondelin, you've got to look at this. And I said, okay. And so I looked at it and then I was very intrigued and I thought, okay, let me talk to somebody. So I got on the phone with Cindy. And Cindy says, oh, yeah, this is the Tower Garden. This is how it works. It's with a company called Juice Plus, which I had never heard of before. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And she says, well, you might as well sign up as a rep and then you can get the discount. And I thought, oh, I'm all about discounts. I'll do that. Meanwhile, this is my raised bed garden in the backyard. This is what we had just planted when I decided I was going to buy this Tower Garden. And so it's not like sneaking a box of shoes in the house. The UPS guy shows up with all these boxes on the front porch, and my husband pulls into the driveway about the same time that the UPS guy is driving off. So I couldn't even get the boxes in the house fast enough. And so he walks in and he's like, what did you buy? And I said, oh, you just wait, you'll see. So I get the boxes unpackaged. I put the Tower Garden up and he keeps walking by watching me. And he says, what is that? And I said, oh, I said, it's a Tower Garden and I'm going to grow plants in it. And he says, you're going to grow plants where? And what kind of plants? I said, I'm going to grow them on the back deck. And he says, well, what about all those raised beds we just planted? And I said, it's okay. I'm going to do a comparison all summer long to see how they grow between both environments. And so he kind of looked at me like I had two heads. And I said, just wait, you'll see, you'll see. And so I started just documenting the process. I thought, oh, this will be fun. I'm going to just videotape what happens each week and I'm going to post it. So that's what I did. And as a result of that, people kept asking me, well, where did you get that? How does that work? And so I found myself asking a lot of questions in addition to selling them. And about 4 months down the road, my husband says, you started a business and we never even talked about it. And I said, it was never my intention to start a business. I just wanted this Tower Garden, but I love the Tower Garden so much. There's nothing that I talk about the Tower Garden all the time. It's like I was so amazed. I'd go out and look at it on the back deck and I was astonished at how quickly things were growing in comparison to what was happening out in the ground. And I put some of the same plants in the Tower Garden that was growing in the ground. So with a Tower Garden, you can grow vertically with the aeroponic growing system. You can grow your own produce without the time and the space and the commitment of traditional gardening. And you can grow a wide variety of organic produce, both inside as well as outside. Growing in the Tower Garden takes up less than a 3 square foot circumference. You can grow 30% more, 3 times faster, and 98% less water. And let me tell you, that is so true. So here's a little video on how the Tower Garden works.
Tower gardens.
state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your tower garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden the healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
So this was my tower garden the first summer on the back deck, and I got lots of produce. I tell you, it was something to see how quickly everything grew. Um, I liked it because I could control where it was. So if we had wind or lots of rain, and that first summer we had a lot of rain, I felt like I needed a boat. There was so much rain happening. And so I was able to move it out of the elements and then put it back. I actually grew in the tower garden all the way through the end of November outside, and I loved that. I didn't want to break it down. It kind of hurts your heart when you've got all this produce growing in there and it's like you got to pull it all off. But I went ahead and did that, and then I added another tower garden and started growing two. I have two tower gardens growing inside, and I grow everything from cherry tomatoes, kale, all kinds of herbs. I have about 8 different types of lettuces growing right now. I've got bell peppers, bok choy, tatsoi, um, cauliflower. I just pulled a broccoli off my tower garden. Just anything that you could imagine that you could grow that's not a binding crop, I grow inside. If it's something that's going to travel out from underneath the lights, I save that for outdoors. But it's definitely an adventure. And, everything's an experiment. You have to try it. I've tried lots of seeds and lots of plants that just didn't do well, but it's, it's an experiment. You have to just try it and see. Now, there are two types of models that are available. We've got the Tower Garden Home and the Tower Garden Flex. I have 4 of the Tower Garden Flexes. I love them. I like to say they're flexible because you can grow inside as well as outside with them. But what I really like about them is they have that 20-gallon reservoir at the bottom, so you can go longer periods of time without having to put water in the base. The other thing I like about it is it's got that flat top, so I can rest my seedlings when I'm growing new seedlings on that top, and it gets the lights and everything there, which I really, really like. And I like the weight of it because we do get a lot of windy weather sometimes, and it's just a very substantial weight when it's full of water, so it's not moving around a lot. The Tower Garden Home is about a half a foot circumference difference as far as the base size. It holds 13 gallons of water, and this one is nice. It fits in small, tight spaces. I am really surprised. I actually bought one of these because I wanted to have one to show people the difference in size between the two when they come to visit. And it really, it's the sleek little sexy rounded corners. Everything is just rounded, and it's really made to sit and complement your home on the inside. And you really, either one of them, depending on what you want to grow, would dictate which model that you would buy really and where you want to grow. Now we get a lot of questions about the lights. Well, I have this great sunroom. Do I need to have the lights because I've got all this natural light coming in? And the answer is yes. When you think about growing inside, our windows have UV filters in them that are rated that block the UV rays that the plants need to thrive. Now, yes, you'll get natural light that comes in, but it's not going to be enough for those plants to really grow the way they need to grow. The grow lights are nice. They're energy efficient. They I would say the first month that I had the lights plugged in, I run my lights 18 hours a day. And when my husband came downstairs and he saw how bright it was, he's like, "Oh my gosh, how much is that gonna cost to keep those on all the time?" Well, nice thing is it's 125 watts total that they're putting out. It's a low heat light bulb, and it's great because it causes the plants to just really, really thrive. And it's nice to have them inside. What I like about growing inside is I don't even have to wash it if I don't want to. I mean, it's so clean, you just chop it up and put it on the plate. Um, and I'm able to do that with the grow lights inside. Now, the tower garden makes growing much easier. I'm not going to say that there's no work involved, but it does make it easier than traditional gardening. It's easy to install, it's easy to maintain. You have less climate sensitive issues. You can grow 3 times faster than you can in plant soil. And there's no digging and no dirt and no weeding. And you can have a nice manicure all the time. You don't have to worry about having dirt underneath your fingernails. And it's just really a great way to grow. I would say that it is probably, it by far is one of my favorite. I call it my kitchen accessory, but my favorite way to garden, really. I still have the raised beds, but I'm using my raised beds for root vegetables and some of the larger plants that would take up too much space in my tower garden. So the tower garden is nice because your produce is picked at the peak of ripeness. You have more nutrient dense vegetables that are growing on that tower garden. And it truly is tower to table. I literally will pick from this and then go straight to the kitchen and we're eating it. And it's better than organic. And the reason why I say better than organic, when you think about organic produce that we buy in the grocery store, the produce still has to be picked long before it's ripe so that when it gets to the store, it looks good and you have that eye appeal where you'll buy it. The thing is, though, when they pick all that produce, they still have to transport it, and they treat the covers for these trucks with a chemical that helps keep the produce from ripening too fast. So it's technically is grown organically, but it's not, the whole process all the way to your table is not necessarily organic. So you can grow in the tower garden just about anywhere. So you've got schools that are using them for teaching aids. You have people that are doing farms where they're growing multiple tower gardens and supplying produce to their local community. You have people that are just doing growing them on their back deck. And then you have businesses like restaurants that are actually using them to supply all the fresh produce for their menus in their restaurants. And the tower garden benefits for children and family is amazing. It provides a means for educating children about health and nutrition. There's an increased academic performance, and they form a real connection with nature. It teaches them responsibility in taking care of the tower garden plants, and it also boosts their confidence and pride. I mean, there's nothing more prideful than being able to grow something yourself, pick it, and put it on the table. So you don't have to be a child to even have that confidence and pride. Every time I pick from the tower garden and I prepare food for our table, it's such a huge accomplishment to me. As well as every time I pick a bag and I give it away, it's an accomplishment that I was able to grow something from seed and be able to actually provide for somebody else's families. The Tower Garden makes gardening really, really great. It's a good time for families to bond. Kids enjoy learning. Kids are eating more of what they're growing, and you don't need a green thumb. I hear lots of people who say, "Oh, I have a black thumb, I kill everything." It's really hard to kill anything in this Tower Garden. I mean, they've made it pretty much dummy proof almost, I would say. I mean, you put the minerals and the water in the reservoir, and it pretty much does the rest of it on its own. So I decided that I was going to do a little research. So there was a study conducted by a Tower Garden farm in Atlanta, and it was several years ago, and it was not based off of organic produce. So this this winter, I went to about 4 different grocery stores, and I did an average of the organic produce that was available in the store. And so a 6-month yield for produce that you could actually grow in a Tower Garden, you're looking at about $1,180 worth of produce. So for instance, a small bunch, maybe 5 or 6 stalks of organic Swiss chard is like $3 a bunch. And when you think about how many bunches of Swiss chard you get off of one plant, like I've had the same Swiss chard plant in my Tower Garden for 6 months, and I continue to pick off of it. So imagine how many bunches of Swiss chard that you grow, that if you were buying it in the store, you go to the store, you need to pick up a few things. So it's $5 here and $10 there. And so after a while, it starts to add up. In fact, I heard someone say the other day that the Tower Garden, it's like 50 times less expensive than buying groceries when you start adding up all of the times that you go to the grocery store and you're picking things up. So your initial investment for a Tower Garden would be $855 with the lights, approximately. And so you figure within 6 months, really the Tower Garden can truly pay for itself, and fresh becomes affordable. So when you look at the cost of the Tower Garden home model is $55.83. With the lights, it's $82.91 a month. The Flex is $60.42 per month. And if you wanted to add the lights to that, then it just goes up a little bit more. But you're looking at about $13 to $15 a week. And when you think about fresh produce and what we spend on fresh produce, I spend more than that in a week on fresh produce. But what I like is that those 2 bins that are down in the bottom of my refrigerator, I used to call those graveyards for vegetables to go die. And so, you go to the store, you buy produce, and sometimes you pull it out to use, and it's already gone bad before you even can use it. But the Tower Garden, because you're picking at the peak of ripeness and you're typically eating it when you're picking it, you don't have that. So my bottom bins in my refrigerator very rarely have produce in them now. They have fruit like apples and that kind of thing. But even when I have to harvest because I've got too much, I put them in there, and that lettuce will last anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks before it would start to turn. And we typically don't have it in there that long, but I just remember when we were leaving for the holidays, I cleaned a bunch of stuff off at the Tower Garden and put it in my refrigerator. And when we came back, we could still eat it. And we were gone for 3 weeks. So the Tower Garden is truly a gift that keeps giving. I mean, it's a great Mother's Day gift. It's a great gift for anybody, any time of the year. And, if you have someone that's interested in a Tower Garden, just ask questions, find out what they want to grow. And then from there, you can actually talk about, which model would be a good recommendation for them, just depending on what they want to grow. And so that's my presentation.
Do you want to stop sharing for a minute?
Yep, I'll stop sharing.
And I was wondering, it was amazing. Could you just show, like move a little bit and show your tower gardens so they could see them?
Oh, sure.
And then we can stop the recording and ask questions, but I wanted everyone to see how gorgeous these are.
Yeah, I just picked a whole lot of stuff off of here. So this one over here, I've got like my basil is like taking over. I don't know how well you can see it. My basil is taking over everything here. And I've got some starboard kale down here. I've got a red tomato plant down here. But then I've got this little guy. This is from Rare Seeds. I don't know. Can you see that this tomato plant?
Yeah.
It's called a hat tomato and they're yellow, but this is as bushy as this is going to get. And so it's nice because I'll have just clusters of tomatoes on this little compact plant here. But then I've got herbs up here and some arugula, and I've got celery and parsley and cilantro. And I've got down here cauliflower. And just on this one, I've got Swiss chard and I've got lettuce. And this is another cherry tomato plant that's very compact. This is as big as it'll get. I've got red vein sorrel and bib lettuce and butter lettuce and just all kinds of stuff growing on these. And then my pepper plant is down in the bottom there. So it just, it's like I try and grow things that I know we're going to eat all the time. And we eat a salad almost every day. And what I do is I plant new seeds. I start new seeds probably every 6 to 7 weeks. And I constantly am rotating plants.
Amazing.
And if I don't like them, then I just pull them out and put something else in.
That's good to know. I like the idea of rotating the plants, Shandelin.
You have to, otherwise everything is getting ripe all at the same time.
All the time.
It's like you can't eat it all at the same time. And so I stagger when I'm putting things in the tower garden. So about the time that I'm ready to pull a lettuce plant, there's another one that's, ready for me to be picking off of. And so I probably have like 4 full-size lettuces at a time. And then the other ones are just staggered in between so that I'm not having to harvest all of that lettuce at the same time.
Awesome. Awesome.
Amazing. So I think I'm going to stop the recording just so we can have a clean recording and then we can ask more questions if that's all right. Shandelin, you are amazing. And for those of you who are interested, please get with the person that invited you to get more of your questions answered and make sure you order the tower garden that fits your family. And the person that helps you can share more about that. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to stop this now.